All right, so today we are going to continue from where we stopped. Last time we handled the word processing. We looked at various things. As a matter of recapping, I know that we looked at mainly how to navigate through your um, Microsoft Word, especially some of those important things like styling. We're able to look at the interface. We looked at the quick access toolbar the last time, looked at the search button, look at the tabs, and we're able to look at the ribbons. So it's just for us to kind of have it in the back of our mind. So we have different tabs here, like we mentioned. We have the home tab, we have the insets, we have draw or design and all that. So each of the tab, you notice that the ribbon is actually changing. So when you click on, for instance, the home tab, you see that this is the ribbon for the home tab. But each ribbon is divided by you can see like a vertical line here. So you have the clipboard is the first group. So you have the font is the second group, then the paragraph, the style, the edit, voice sensitivity, and all that. So these are groups. So each of the group, if you look in, you will now see that they contain different icons, and these are what we call commands. So we're going to look at what we did last time. Of course, we looked at the clipboard, how it stores some of the things you've copied during a session on the computer. A session means when you on your system, anything you copy or cut, whether it's from the internet or anywhere, is actually saved somewhere, and that place is saved is referred to as clipboard. So if you want to check, you can there's a little arrow. We did this last time. Click on it, you see different things. Let me copy this. If I just select this and right click and copy, just watch the clipboard at the left hand side here. You see it adds it to all the things. If I copy another thing, it keeps on adding where's copy. You see this keeps on increasing, it keeps on populating the clipboard. So when you want to paste any of the things, you can go to the history of all the things you have come. So it's kind of stores the history of everything that is either cut or copied. Like I said, from anywhere, it could be from the internet and all that. It stores it here. So it's a kind of temporary memory, so to say. So we looked at what we call the format painter, which is some of the important things that we looked at. For instance, instead of you know trying as much as possible to implement different editing on it. For instance, let me just edit this first line. Assuming it's red in color and it's italicized and it's underlined. So these three commands, right? Instead of coming here to repeat the three commands, I can use Format Painter to copy the formats here and paste it another place. Not pasting the content or the value, but just the format. So this is red and everything. So if I select this, if I go to this group, click on Format Painter, then if I paint it across this, okay, so you see this presented as takes this, so more like a recap. I'm going to undo. So that's what the Format Painter does. So we went into the fonts. Of course, everybody knows what this whole thing. I'm not going to waste time here to go into italicize on align, prefix and suffixes and all that. The font styles. Some people use typeface, especially when you're dealing with web development, graphics. What you have is typeface, but it's the same thing as font style. That's what they call it here. You can see the sizes. If you want to increase it, if you want to decrease it, these are sentence cases of letters. Sentence case is simply that the first letter of what is selected will be capitalized. Lowercase is everything will be in lowercase. Uppercase, change everything to uppercase. So with this one I selected now, you can even test them out. So you can see here uppercase, lowercase. You can click on lowercase, you can change everything to lowercase. So and so on and so forth. I don't need to waste time here. There are other things like color of the font and whether you want to kind of highlight it. If this is what the highlight looks like. You probably want to take note of it when you're coming back to the um when you're coming back to the work. probably want to look at certain areas that you don't want to be looking for. So you have to highlight it so they will be visible. We finished, we went to paragraph, and it was here that we actually kind of implemented some very important things. So I mentioned that this paragraph is simply for Microsoft. Once you hit enter or press enter while you are typing, you have created another paragraph. That is the simple definition of it. So all these lines you are seeing are all paragraphs, right? So everything you see here will be used to kind of edit or format each of the paragraph. Thumbnail, if I look at this, if I select all these things, I click on thumbnail, it gives all of them thumbnail, as you can see. Um, if you want to number it, you can give it numbers, you can see. So each of the paragraph, everywhere you see number, it means that we used enter, we press enter to move to that line. Okay, while we are developing this particular section. So I'm just going to this is what the most important thing here. Okay, let me just talk about this before we go to. We can be what we are looking at now. It has been aligned to the left. You can align it to the right. Look at it here. You can centralize it as well, and then you can justify it. So for this particular one, it makes sense to align it to the left or right. So here also, you can actually color it. You can see you can color if the paragraph you selected. Okay, so um you can equally add border. So for instance, if I want to add border, you can see I can add border to what I've selected here. So I'm going to just undo. Now, the most important thing I thought last week is the idea of styling. I combine styling and also what we call multi-level lists. So before we go to multi-level list, let us look at style. Style simply means, right, we want to give special kind of attributes to any select. For instance, this title page, okay, it can be, look at this title, you can see normal. If I click on normal, it changes this title page to normal. You can see no space, heading one, heading two. You can click on this here, it brings out every other styles. So this style is actually simply means separate special recognition. But for our own case, we chose title. Why did we choose title? Because we want it to appear in the table of content. Anything that you want on table of content, you must actually style it. That is how to generate your table of content. So yeah, I went through the work. As a recap, I know we look at list of abbreviation. I will run down to the end. I'm not going to repeat all that. So I'm just doing recapping. So after doing that, we went to chapter one and we decided to start putting heading. Heading is different from title. All these ones you are looking at, executive summary is a title. Chapter one now is a title, but this background information is actually a heading. So what did we do? We put our cursor here. Now I went to that paragraph area. For the first time, when you are trying to start, assigning heading, whether it's heading one or heading two or heading three, the first step you take is to recognize or configure this particular work to be able to recognize what we call multi-level lists. Okay. If you select on this is the first thing that we did. Then the information, we went back to the paragraphs, right? So it's not this thumbnail or one, two, three. There's another one close to something that looks like numbering. It's called multi-level list. So when you click on it, you see multi-level simply means that there will be hierarchy. Simple. There's no complicated definition of it. Hierarchy means that there's something that's going to be like a parent and a child and a grandchild, something like that. So for this particular chapter, you notice that the hierarchy, number one hierarchy is this particular heading. For instance, if you are dealing with a project, it can be introduction, literature review, name the methodology and all that. So that is the heading one because everything about the chapter is about this particular heading one. Every other thing is going to be a child of the heading one or a grandchild of heading one or a child of heading two. Okay, so that's good. That's exactly what is high multi-level list. So that's what it is here. So why I said when you come here, the first thing you do is to recognize that you do it only once in a particular work. And once you do it, you see that you can continue. So what we did was we clicked on background information. and then go to multi-level list. There are a lot of them. This is none. There's no multi-level list here. This one shows that you can use 1.0 if I want to. Okay, it might not be in your own, but let me just continue. So you can see all the multi-level listing this you have. So you can choose any of them, right? So I already have one here, but I just want to point it out. So the one I'm using, you can have multi-level leader where the highest level is number. You will see this in probably WAEC or even our university exams. You have, if they say you have 5 questions, it means the highest level is question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, and question 5. Now, the next level, if the question has like 5A and 5B, so you could see the first level is numbering, the second level is using alphabets. So if you see 1A, it means that it's a child of 1. Okay. Now, if he has a grandchild, he's going to have 1AI, 1AII. You understand? So that I and II becomes the third heading. So you have the level 1 heading, you have the level 2 heading, which is A, then level 3 heading, which is II and II. So that's what it means. So once you do that, the work, you do it once, click on multi-level lists. Okay, the work already knows. Look at it here. So you have 1AI. This is another one, 1.1.1. Please don't use this one because it does not include the letters or the words or the clause. So this one will not include background information in this case. But when you choose, they are similar. Look at it here. You have 1.1, 1.2. So it recognizes that when you see heading 1, it recognizes the thing you selected as the write-up. Okay, that's the title of that particular heading. So when we choose this, you just do that, like I said, you just do it only once. You can see the other ones actually that has section article. I think if I'm writing a constitution, I'm likely to use this one. The highest level is article, the second level is section A. So you have article 1, section 101.1, and then subsection. So this is not a constitution, but I just want to point you out. There's actually other ones that use simply, they use thumbnails to recognize the first level, second level, and third level. So that's by the way. So I mentioned this. So when you do this only once, I've done it already. You can see if I want to change this thing to 1.0, I can go here. It's not here, for instance. So the one I chose is this one. You can see it's only one. But what if I do want 1.0? I will include it here. So you have an opportunity of doing that. So what I will do, let me just add it to what we have already done. I will go to define new multi-level lists. If I click on look at it here, it's in the drop down. This thing will come out, right? So what I'm going to do, see one is here. I'm going to put my cursor here and put 0.0. 0.0. Okay. So that becomes my this thing. I have defined it. Okay. If I want to define number 2, I can define number 2 as well. You can see when you click on number 3, look at what I'm doing. Click on number 4. Well, I'm going back to 1. It is 1 that I want to define. I don't want to just look at it here. It's just 1 background information. I want it to be 1.0. Okay. For the heading 1. So what I do is that's all I need to do. So I say, okay, this thing will change to 1.0 automatically. So once you do this, what you are going to know is that if you come here, you see that your heading 2 will be activated. Okay. So heading 2 is a child of heading 1. So this is 1.0. Okay. This is 1.0. So if I go down, I've done this before. So you can see this person now. Okay. Let me make it normal so that you guys understand what I'm saying. Click on, let the style be normal. So you can see this style is normal now. Once I do the heading, it's supposed to be a child of, chapter 1. It's not a topic on its own. So it's a child of it. So what I'm going to do is now heading 2. Remember, the parents is heading 1, and the child of this one is going to be heading 3. So we're going to just click on this, make it heading 2. You can see that 1.1 is supposed to come out automatically. You're not supposed to type it. Okay. So we did it. We continued. Look at some of them. You can see this is heading 2. We continued and all that. So when we finished, right? Um, how did we generate the table of contents, right? So I'm going to remove this table of content and generate it. That's where we stopped last time. So let me delete everything here. So this table of content, because I have styled the work, it is able to, you can see all these things you are seeing here is title. Sorry, this one is, sorry, let me click outside. So this one is title. You can see. This one's a title. You can see the chapter one is the title. You can see where the headings came in, background information, but all these things I just showed you now. So let me remove it, okay? And then I will start for today's. This is where we stopped last time. Okay, let's assume that we don't have table of contents. Okay, so this thing should go down to the next page. So this is normal. So normal. So I'll put my cursor here. Enter. Table of contents. This is S. So I put my cursor here under the table of contents. Sorry, enter. So my cursor should be blinking here. So step one, I did this last time. You go to the tab called references. Look at it here. When you go to the tab called references, the ribbon will open up. The first group in the ribbon is referred to as a table of contents, right? So here you see the first thing, table of contents. That command, you click on it, you have a drop down. So the drop down, from the drop down, hold on, I think this is, yeah, from the drop down, you see custom table of contents, because these are templates. You use all of them to generate it for you, but I want custom for a reason, because I want to teach something. So this custom, if there's going to be a dotted line leading to the number of the page, is called um tab leader. So look at the tab leader. There are other ones, and there is none. If you don't want it to come at all, you can remove it, but it's there. So now show levels. Of course, you know what is level one, level two, level three. So how many level do you want to show to be visible in the table of contents we are about generating? All of them, all the three, fine. So when you go to the options also, you see that it has what they call TOC, table of content options. So under here, you see TOC level, right? So you have one, two, three. Okay, just the indenting, shifting a bit. The first one will be a bit to the left. And so what you are seeing here, look at the sample here in other table. See, heading one is here, then heading two shifts inwards a bit. So this shifting inwards is the TOC level two. That's why I'm seeing two here. So this is heading three. She is shifted inwards. That's what I mean inwards means towards the right. Okay. So, but if I want all of them to align, see what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it to 111. Preferentially, that's what I want. Okay, you can leave your own to be like this. When I say 111, later it's okay. See that this preview will change, right? But before we say okay, please make sure that the titles, remember there are two styles I've done so far, the headings and the title. So you have to, it is arranged alphabetically. So please scroll down and make sure that your title is marked, because if this title is not checked, your preliminary pages like list of table of contents, in some cases acknowledgement, dedication, all those ones will not be in your table of contents. So I have styled them, and the style I added, I effected was title. So here for TOC level, I want it to be on the same line, on this is what I say, okay, you can see, look at how it has heading one, heading two, and three, it has title. So is tab leader is there. When I say okay, the table of contents will generate. You can see. So I did not type this thing myself. It's something that you can see this is one of the areas that some people don't really know how to use, in Microsoft Word. And sometimes when they do their projects, they go and start typing the table of content themselves. That's not supposed to be. You're supposed to generate it. So, having said that, this is where we stopped last week. So, what we are going to do now, I'm just going to recap the idea of sectioning, because if you notice on this table of contents, you see that title page has I, this one has I. Then, when you come to chapter one, you start with what? Number one. Look at it here. So, how did you achieve that? I said, when you go to this page where this thing is, you divide this work into two. Okay, they call it sectioning, so that you can number them independently. That is the only way it will be possible. Okay, so when you section them, divide them into two sections, then this you can see this one can freely be numbered. I'm using Roman numerals here, and then I'm using ordinary numbers here. So how do you do that? So when you go to where is chapter one, look at it here. So I'm supposed to insert the page break here, okay, between the last part of what I consider section one and the beginning part of what I will consider section two. So that's how we achieve that, okay. So what we did was to make sure that we click our cursor here, right? That's how to achieve sectioning. So when you click your cursor here, you go to layout tab. Look at it, layout tab. Okay. Now under the layout tab, it brings out a ribbon. Then you are going to see page setup, right? So what you're trying to do is do a page setup. Among everything here, you're going to see margin, orientation, size, column. The one we are interested in now is what we call breaks. If you look at breaks, you see look at section breaks. That's look at the second part of the pop-up. You have a section break here, then you see next page. So when you click on it, you have created. So you have broken distance. When you double click on the tip of the end of every page, you will see a sign that shows you if there is a section or not. For me, you can see there is footer of section one and header of section two. So this tells me already that in this we are going to have two sessions. So having done that, we can now comfortably label or number them independently. So for numbering, anywhere you have to click. If you are interested in numbering section one, you just come back to any page on section one. So click on it, then you go to insert, and then you go to insert page number. We did it the last time. So you choose bottom, okay. Bottom is these are just the location. Do you want the page number to be on top of the page, or normally in our climb it's normally bottom of the page? So you choose bottom, whether bottom left or bottom right, I don't care. Anyone you choose is fine. So when you choose, you come back again because it will just give it the number. But what of the formatting of the pages? How do we get even A, B, C, D? So after doing that, you come back here again, click on insert. Of course, you have to be in insert type. Come back to the page number. This time around, you are not looking at the position. You are going to go to format page number. So when you click on format page number, this thing comes. See where it's asking you what format are you using? Is it or I? So this is where you change it. If you like, you can even use ABCD. You can even dash number dash. Like dash one dash two dash one anyhow. But for this particular preliminary session, I want to use I. So this is how to achieve it. Okay. Okay. Then when you do that, you can tell it to continue from previous. Okay, this one there's no previous section, so I'll say okay. Now, but when you come to the second one where you have this chapter one, for instance, let's do the same thing. So you go to insert, make sure you click here. That's how to activate. Just come here and click any parts in this section too. Now you go to insert page number, format page number. In this case, don't tell it to start from the previous. You can see here. In this case, choose start at one. That's what we so this chapter one, this first page will start at one and run through the end. So that's okay. So if you want to have another section like appendix or something, you can go to the end and break. That's the philosophy, that's the principle. So that's the idea. I cannot do everything. So I haven't done that. We kind of ended the first session. So today I'm going to look at figures. Okay, that's what we're going to look at today. So look at this figure. Every figure and every table must have label in your work, so you can describe what it's all about. This is an example. Okay, so there's a figure here. You need to talk about everything here. You can see figure one, breakdown of employment by sector. European Union 27%. European Union 27. So percentage of total employment. So all these things are description of whatever that is happening in this table. Okay. So what I want to show you people how to do this one also automatically. So I'll take this into the next paragraph just by doing enter so that I know it's on its own and is not joining with this particular image. So now you can see that we have figure one here. But the truth be told, this figure one is not supposed to be typed. But the person that has this work has typed it in. So this figure one, I'm going to just delete, just backspace, select it and backspace. So I will have the main title. This is actually what I need. Okay. Whatever figure should come out on its own, just like heading one, heading two, heading three. So this is the main thing I want in this particular, this the breakdown of one of them. That's the title of that particular figure. So let's start. Okay. The first thing that we do in this case, we go now, we will not go to style. Before now, the difference between what we are doing now and what you have to take note of it is that the first one we went to style. Yeah, this is actually style, but it's a different kind of style. So where you get this particular one is in a tab called references. Remember references where we just generated our table. So I'm going to click on it. Look at it here. References tab. Good. In references tab, we are going to have different, in the ribbon, you are going to have different groups. The first group is table of contents. That's what we are going to use. I see another group, footnotes. For those that might want to use footnotes tomorrow, you can see this is where you get it. You have citation and bibliography, you have caption, you have index, and you have table of authorities. The one that we want to focus on now is caption. Okay, so caption is the title you give to your table of your tables and your figures or diagrams. Some people call it diagram in your work. So I want everybody to focus attention on this. So again, how did we get here? We clicked on what references style. Okay, now that we are here, we are going to start do what we call insert caption. Look at it here. Okay, so we want to insert a caption, right? Normally, if you are generating this word for the first time, you should be typing it in. But for this sake, I'm going to select this one and cut it. I'll paste it when I'm supposed to type. So I'm going to select this, right click, copy, or let me just cut it. If you cut, you can see it's saved in the clipboard. All right, the first thing I'm going to click on was insert what caption. So I've inserted caption. Now you can see it's showing me figure 1.1, but let me just explain. So what you are seeing here is the caption dialog box, right? So the dialog gives you different options. So this is a figure, you can see it's showing me figure 1.1. Yeah, but let me tell you something. Sometimes you might not see anything here. You are the one that will come here and say, please, it is not figures, but it is tables. It is not table, it is equation. You can have equation one, equation, but in this case, it's actually figure. So I'm going to just point it out, it's figure. Now, another thing is that if the figure needs to recognize the chapter number, for instance, all the figures in chapter one will be figure 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.1, just continuously until you finish that chapter. Then when you go to chapter 2, it will start with figure 2.1, 2.2. So that is what we call recognizing the chapter number. So what you do here, if you say okay, I'm not sure it will, but when you say look at, you see new numbering. There's equally what they call new label. New label is something that has to do with like you have figure one, so you have figures, you have tables. Yeah, if you are doing PhD, for instance, in some universities, they'll ask you that figures is different from plates. So you have tables, you have figures. So their diagram is divided into two. The diagram you have figures. Figures is the one you generated. So some PhD in different schools. But plates is like an image, okay, that's not generated by you. So for instance, if you have a chart, that you plotted after your experiment, that is a figure. But if you took a picture of a sample in the lab, they refer to it as a plate. So why am I bringing it up? In case you come and you don't even see plates here, if you click on new label, that's how you can create a new label. Okay. So it's not only figures and kind of, you can create your own. So, but that's fine. The number up here, this is another option for you to configure your numbering. So here, if your own is not checked, okay, if you have intention of including the chapter number like 1 point something, figure 1 point something, you come here and check this particular one. When you check it, it will not include it. So what should we use to demarcate? Is it hyphen, figure 1 dash 1, or is it period, dash figure 1 dot 1, or column, or this thing? But I like period for figures and I like dash for tables. So when I say it, if I click on it, I'll now say okay. Now that thing we copied, right? This is where I'm supposed to type in your figure. Like I can type in something like Lawrence. I can see me typing it, but that's not what I want. So that thing I cut, I'm not going to paste it. Control V. I have pasted it here. But normally, if you're generating your work, you're supposed to like do that. When you say okay, look at what is going to happen. You see 1.1 there. That's how to automate this thing. If I go to the next figure, for instance, okay, I'll copy the caption. Okay, I'll copy the caption and then remove this figure too because it's not supposed to be manually written. Okay, then in this case, that setup I just did now, I don't need to be repeating the setup again. All I need to be doing is click on the start caption. It's everything has been set up. The configuration is there. I will paste what I copied and I say okay. Then the next one. Okay, this is now a table. Good. At this point, I want to point out that tables are usually labeled on top of the table, while figures like this are labeled under the figure. So for tables, I will remove table one. Okay, well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll first of all click at this end and enter, press enter to ensure that it's on its own. So this is a paragraph on this one. I'm going to select everything and cut it onto X. Then when I cut it, I'm going to go to insert caption. Okay, when I click on insert caption, you can see that at this point, it is not figure that I want to put, but rather a table. So I'm going to go to this label, go to this drop down, choose table. Now you can see that this table is not including chapter number. It's just showing me table one. No, what I want to see is table 1.1 or 1-1 as the case may be. So I'm going to go back to this numbering because this is the first time we are doing table. You can come here and configure it. So I'm going to check include chapter number. Once I check it and I say okay, now you can see you now have table one. Now the first one is the chapter. The second one is the what? The number of the table in that chapter. So if you have 3 tables in the chapter, you have 1-1, 1-2, and 1-3, something like that. So of course the caption that I copied, I have to give 2 spaces and then what? Paste it here. So when I paste, I say okay, you can see it has given it table 1.1. This is a figure. I'm going to do the same thing without explaining much. So figure 1.3, I'm going to enter. Okay, come here. Then click on insert caption. Now, because it's in table, I'm going to change it back to figures. This time around, no configuration needed because it has already been configured. I will now paste, enter. So I'll find the next one. This is a table. Okay, I'm going to copy this, then cut it onto X. Remove this table one, table two, sorry, enter. So I'm going to do insert what caption. This is figure. I'm going to change it to table, then give 2 space and then paste what I need. I say okay. You can see table two is there. So I'll go. This is another table. Okay, onto X. So I'm going to say insert. Okay, then this table fine. I'm just going to paste it. Say okay. Just continue. When I'm done, you can go down the work. I share this document. By the way, I'm going to share this document again. Let me share it on the chat. I shared it last week, so you can practice this later. I shared it last week. So I'm making mistakes by assuming that everybody was here last week. So okay, so this is another table risk factor. I'm going to remove this 2.2. Remove this factor. Okay, is it this table? Sorry. Is the table, label of the table, risk factor table summary. Okay. Remove it, insert caption. Yeah, it's still table. Then enter. So I don't know. It's showing me table 2.1. Okay, it's the second chapter. That's interesting. You can see that since it's the second chapter, automatically it changes to 2.1. I'm not the one that type. You can see how this works. Okay. I didn't even know I entered chapter 2 because I was wondering why is it 2.1. So that's why it is good to recognize the chapter number because it helps you a lot. I don't need to worry again after configuring this thing. So I need to go to a new paragraph. Then this is a figure. This figure will now be 2.1, right? So this is still a table. I will change this to a figure or see what is going to happen. 2.1, yes. So I'll paste what I copied here and say, okay. Another figure here, composite working hour, blah, blah, blah. I can copy it as well. Cut, by the way, just cut it, enter. Now I'm going to say insert caption, and then I'm going to 2.2, I'm going to paste, and I'll say okay. So you can see figure 2.2. So this continues on and on and on. So I'm going to stop here. If I do this last one, I'll stop. I will now go and generate because we have some other things to do today. So I'm going to go to insert caption again. You can see 2.3, then paste, enter. Now, having done that, I'm not going to finish all of them. Let's go and generate it at the beginning. So at the beginning of your work, you have a table that should contain every figure. They call it list of figures, and another table that will contain all the tables, which is called list of tables. So they only have caption in this work, but no content. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, list of tables, and then up here you have list of. Okay, this is table of content. So the way we did table of content was so this should be generated automatically. I'll click enter. So it's on the next line. All this line should be. If I click on this line, so what we're going to do now is still on references because remember it is in references that we did the table, but we are not going to go to table of content this time around. Still under this group where we are doing insert caption. Still under this group, what we are going to do now is to still under this, what we are going to do now is to go to instead of clicking insert caption, what we are looking for now is insert table of figures. Look at it here. Right? When you click on it, you see this dialog box that it looks similar to what we had in the table of contents. So you can see all of it here. Now, look at this list of figures, right? Everything here is list of figures. I'm just saying there's nothing to check. I say okay. You can see all the figures that we listed. It has pulled all the figures out and given it all the pages where we are. Then list of tables is the next, right? So all the tables we should do the same thing for all the tables as well. So you are here, all the tables we have actually formatted will come up here. So I'm going to go to insert table of figures. You can see. Now, sorry, this is table of list of tables. But what we want to insert here is not, look at it, it's figures that is showing up here. So we need to change it, right? So you come here, you see in the same, but you are going to see caption label. You can see it is figures that is showing up here. That's why you're seeing figures here, right? But what we want to put here is table. So I'm going to click on this, then choose table, okay, and then say okay. Now, these are only the 4 tables that, 3 from chapter 1 and then just 1 from chapter 2, which factor. So this is how to generate it very easily, okay? You can equally have equations if your equations have label. So when you do your work will be standard. These are the small, small things that makes your work, very unique and standard. So having said that, what we are going to do now is to start. Let me teach you people what we call, because I teach the things that probably not the usual things, but the very interesting thing. There's what we call macro. So macro is actually programming, okay? But it is actually reverse programming, meaning that you are asking this particular software that I want you to save a macro for me. I'll give you an example. Everybody knows that Control S is save. That Control S is actually a macro. And the keys that you use to give the command for that macro to be executed is Control S. If you want to copy, you select some things and you hit Control, you press Control C. That Control C is a macro, okay, that the command is given using the Control button and the C button. Control V for pasting. So your question will be, can you generate your own? And the answer is yes. I can do my own macro and save it, but I'm not going to use already taken buttons. For instance, Control S remains for saving. You can't use it, so you have to generate your own. Sometimes you see something like that's why you see something like hold Control and alt key to press something, and this will happen. Is because they are trying to give variety of options. So how do you do macro? Like example, see, let me just give you an example like this. You see, this is well organized, right? You can see it is well organized. It has a justify and everything. But I can go to another place. You can see this one is scattered. Now, macro will help you. For instance, if this, let me select this ones, right? Now, I can do 5 different actions here and record it in one macro. Example, they asked me, my first one was to go and change your font size to, let me say, this. Okay, this is an example. That's one. You can equally say change this size, okay, to 8. That's 2. I can underline it, that's 3. I can italicize it, that's 4. Okay, and I can change the color to red. See, these 5 steps I've taken can be done using something like Control S or Control whatever. That's the idea. So it means I can do that by writing my own program. Okay, but if you don't know how to write program, use macro. So what we call record macro is these steps I took now, I will record it in a macro while the Microsoft Word application will write the program for me. So that's what we are going to do now. So if you want to automate some processing like that, so let us do this one for instance. Okay, so I'm going to do what? Select this. Okay, when I select it, before I start anything, I have to say record what? Macro. So when I select it, now what we are going to do, how do you record macro? Everybody, you go to developer tab. Okay, you are going to see, this one for developers. So developers, those that know how. So people don't know that probably there are some users of Microsoft that have to write some code and automate some things for some things to happen, right? But let me just put it this way, right? Let me just put it this way. Um, if your developer is not open, if you notice, sometimes your developer is not active on the tab here, right? So let me remove my own so that I'll show you how to put it. You might be asking, I don't have developer tab here. So what I'm going to do is there's what they call customize ribbon. Okay, customize ribbon. So what we do is step one, you click on file. When you click on file, you go down, 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 you see options. Okay, you click on options. Now, when you see options, you are going to see different options like general, display, proofing, save, language, blah, 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 blah. You are going to see customize ribbon. That's the one you should pay attention to. When you click on customize ribbon, this is what is going to come out there, right? You check on the right hand side whether your developer is checked. So I'm going to uncheck my own. See, developer is checked before now. I am unchecking it. Now that I've unchecked it, developer will disappear from. If I say okay now, I'm not going to have developer here anymore. Look at it. I don't have developer. So this might be how your own is looking right now. So what we are going to do is you go to file, right? Then go down here, click on options. Then you go to what customize ribbon, and here I am going to scroll and make sure that my developer is checked. So when I check my developer, I will now say okay. Developer comes back here. So what I'm teaching now is not about developer, but I want to show you how you can use macro. So you can only use macro if your developer is active. So that's by the way. So continue from where we stopped. Yeah, this has been selected. I'll go to the developer tab. Then you will see record macro. Look at it here. It has like an icon with a red dot somewhere here. So when I click on record macro, a dialog box will come out. The dialog box says this macro you want to record, are you using button or keyboard? Of course, I want us to use keyboard. Remember I said control this, control that, and all that. So the one I want to generate now, I want to use a keyboard command to call it up. So I'm going to choose keyboard. So it's going to ask me, what keys do you want? If I say Control C, for instance, just watch what you do. I hold my control and press C. Okay, you can say it's giving me a warning. It is currently assigned to edit copy. So I cannot use Control C because Control C is already taken, and all of us know it's for copying, right? So let me check another one. Let me say Control M. Control M, is it taking? Okay, now it's Control C M, sorry. Control M is assigned to indent, so I can't use it. Let me use Shift M. It can work. Let me use Alt M. Alt M is unassigned. So you can see currently assigned to unassigned. So Alt M is what we are going to use for this macro. I'll just give you an example. So yes, now we will now start recording. Okay, recording, let me explain again. Recording means I am not going to write any code, but I'm going to carry out those steps that I want code for. So what is the step for changing font style and all that? So once I say close, my cursor, if I click on close, you can see my cursor has changed. There is something that looks like a electromagnetic cassette there. That cursor, you can see that changed. So it shows that I am currently recording a macro. What it simply means that every step I take now, Microsoft Word is going to note that step, record it, and write the code for that step. So first of all, let me go to home. If I go to home, I'll go to this thing. I'll change the font. Let me change it to Aptos Display. I've changed the font. That's number one. It has recorded that step. Number two, I want to change the font size to 18. Okay, it has recorded that. I want to make it bold. That's number three. It has recorded that. Okay, I want to underline it. That's number four. It has recorded that. I want to italicize it. It has recorded that. Now I have done 5 steps, and those 5 steps will be called up by simply hitting Alt M in your work. So when you are done, this thing is still recording. There are two ways you can stop the recording. You can go back to developer tab, click on developer tab. you click on stop recording because it's already recording. Once you stop recording, the macro has what? Recorded. Okay. Now, if I go to any part of the work now, for instance, if I select this particular part, all I need to hit is what? Alt. I'll just say Alt what? Alt M. You will not see it, but let me press Alt M. If I press Alt M, sorry, is it assigned already? It's not assigned, but mine is not working. Let me record another macro. Hold on. Or another thing you could do, if you want to see the macro you recorded, let me use this opportunity also. You go to developer tab, then you click on this not record macro, click on macros. Okay. Click on macros. Is macro one. I didn't even give it a name. So I click on this and I say edit. When I say edit, you can see now, look at the program. Okay, Microsoft has written a program for me. So macro edit, you can see selection.font. So it's like how many steps you can see. I don't know how to write all this program, but you can see it's actually written them for me. Okay, so it has recorded the mark. When I was taking all those steps, Microsoft was writing the codes for me. Font name is equal to Aptos display. Selection.font size. I can even edit this macro now. For instance, if I want the font size to be 25, I can write, or even let me use smaller one, 13. So this is how to equally code without really learning how to code because you can now understand. You can see dot form dot font dot bold dot font dot underline color dot font dot underline dot font dot italic equals to, so all these things, this is how this thing is written. So just to mention that, so you can equally close this whole window. So I'm wondering why. Let me record another macro and see why. Record macro, use keyboard. Uh, Let me see. Okay, changes made in section class. Let me see. I will now do Control Alt M together. Okay. Okay, it's already assigned. Let me say Control K. It's already assigned. Let me say Alt K. Alt K is not assigned. I hope this will work. And I'll say, okay, maybe I did not click assigned. I think I did not click assign. That was what happened the other time. So you assign. Okay, yeah, I did not click assign before closing. That's the problem. So let me now record another one. Okay. So I'm going to say where's home? So yeah, I think that was the problem. Let me select this. Okay, font size, increase it to 16. Okay, underline it. Let me just use this three. Then stop recording. Developer, stop recording. Fine. So let me select another part. Okay, I think this one will work. So I'm going to say Alt K. You can see, yeah, Alt K, it has worked. So it's any place you select. So you can see I've given my own command now. I've assigned my own command. So if I say Alt K, you understand, it will kind of, you can see, even if it is 10 steps that I take, it will actually work. So again, it's not about font though. This whole thing is not about font. I can draw a table, for instance. Let me just draw a table here. I can automate, I can record macro. So what I can do is that I can say record macro and then use keyboard. So let me see if alt this thing T is assigned to trademark. So Let me say function alt t is unassigned. So alt t is unassigned. Alt t. So t is, I don't want to, I want to draw a table, right? So I will now say assign. Let me not make the mistake I made before. I now say assigned and then close. The macro is recording. So I'm going to create a table here. So sorry, I go to insert table. I'm going to create a table with this number of this, right? Okay. So I'm going to say serial number. I'll say tab, name. Okay, I say tab, sex, say tab, then a phone number, something like that. Let me just stop here. So I am recording a macro that will repeat the same thing. So it's not about, so I'm going to click on stop recording. I'll click on developer and then I'll stop recording. So this thing I did now, right? Anytime I click Alt T, it will create a table like this. So I don't need to start creating table, writing serial number. So these are very smart way of using these tools. So let me just show you example. If I click on here, I'll just say Alt T. The table will be created. That's what I mean. So you can see there are two now. If I want to create 5 of these tables, Alt T, it creates another one. So macro, this macro that is doing it. You understand? So if I want to see the macro, I'll go to developer, I'll click on the macro, right? You can see this macro 3, I'll click on this, I say edit. You can see what I just did now. Okay, this is just imagine all the codes that just this table, like this simple table, like look at the code, this whole thing here. It has written the code. So this is the command. Now I've kind of configured Alt T to call that command. So I'm going to close it. That is for macro. So that's for macro. Please, when you are saving your work, right? Okay, I want to get this thing back to this thing. So all I need to do is click on this place, use format painter. I've shown you this one before. Go to home, use format painter, and just paint it across. Resume with this thing. Yes. Use format painter, paint this one. Click on this format painter, paint the whole paragraph so that it will resume the fonts. You can see this is how to work smart with. Okay, this first two lines is still the oldest thing. Format painter and the first two lines. So we are back to where we are. So the next thing we are going to do here is before we now end, because like I said, I might not be able to teach everything, but the most important things. Okay, so we haven't done this. These are the most important areas. Then I want to teach you one more thing before we end. One more thing is mailing, right? Mailing. Mailings, everybody, if you look at these tabs. Okay, first of all, I promise to drop. Let me um pause the recording. Then I'm going to. All right, so next thing before we go to mailings, I want us to look at citations, because sometimes you're writing work, you need to quote somebody and all that. So assuming this first sentence is a work I took from somewhere and I need to give reference to that particular body of work. It can be an article, it can be a book and everything. So let's just look at that one. And after the whole thing, you remember that at the end of your work, you equally need to generate all those information, and you call it bibliography, and sometimes you call it reference. So if I click on this, right, what we are going to do, bibliography sometimes is it contains all the work that was used for this, whether it is quoted or unquoted. But the reference is only limited the work that is actually quoted in the work. So sometimes these things can be confusing. All right, so this particular sentence, for instance, this study was commissioned by the committee of blah 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 blah. It is not my own. I got this from somewhere and I rephrased it. So I need to make reference to it. So I'll put the cursor here, right? Then you go to references. Okay. Now there's what they call citation. Look at it. Close to caption. We are done with caption. This time around, it's insert citation, right? If you click on it, you will see add new source or add a placeholder. What does this mean? Add new source means if I have all the information about the thing, if it's a book and or an article or a journal, I can add it immediately. But if I don't have the full information, I can add a placeholder and later come and update it. That's what this thing means. So let me go for the first one, add new source. Now you can see what source is it? Is it a book? You can see, is it a book section? Is it a journal? Is it an article? Is it a conference proceeding? Is it a report? There are a lot of them. Okay. Websites. Are you putting a website? Is it a document from a website? Is it electronic source? Is it sound recording? Is it performance? You might not see all these things in your own because I'm using an updated version. So let me reduce it to book, the one that we know. So book and article and journals. Yes, that's the things you can recommend. So let's use book for instance. When you say book, you can see the author name. Okay, I can say the author name. Like I said, you are using this because you have all the information. If you don't have, put a placeholder first. So I'm going to use my name, okay, as the author, Lawrence. Then Akugwe is the full name, right? Now, the title of the book, okay, I can call it DAIPODS 2025. Example, okay. Then the year is 2025. Oh, there's no 2025 here. Okay, I say DAIPOD cohort 5. That's the name of the book. This is cohort. Now, which year was it released? I can say 2025. Which city? I will say Eket. This is actually means city of publisher. So the publishing company is Codehouse. Codehouse. Right. So the title of the book is, let me just change the case. DAIPODS for cohorts. Cohort 5. So there are other things, okay? But this ones are okay. If you click on this show all bibliography, it brings more fields out. Province, country, region. Is it a book that has edition? Is it a book that has volume 1, volume 2? So, but I don't think I need all those things. So I don't need it. I'll uncheck this button. So for those that might have other things like that, well, once I say okay, look at what is going to happen. You see, it has already cited me, Akubwe, 2025. You can see, you understand. So we can go on and do more of this. Okay. If I click on another part of the work, what you want to quote, you go to what? Insert citation. You can see if I want to insert Akubwe again, because I put it already, you can cite, I can have two citation from different work, but I don't need to do it again. That's how easy it is. If I click on it, it will add it again here. If I click on it, insert citation, right? Anyone you've already done, you don't need to repeat it. You can see it has added it in 3 places for me. So if I have a new one, okay, you can click on insert citation. I'll click on a new source. This time around, let it be an article or a journal article. For instance, journal article, the name is John. Let me say John Smith. Okay, John Smith. Uh, is he a corporate author? These are all first. Title of the book is Nigeria in 2025. Which journal? Because this is a journal. You see, the book did not ask us. You can say NUJ, for instance, like just Union of Journalists, if they have a journal at all. I'll say NUJ journals. Which year was the journal produced? Of course, it's 2025. Then which page? Because the journal will have a page. Some journal can have, an article can be in a journal and can cover like 3 pages. So assume this journal is from page 3 to page 5. I'll say 3-5. Okay. It took 3 pages, page 3, page 4, and page 5. So when I finish, I'll say okay. Right? When I say okay, see, Smith, 2025. So Smith has been added to citation. If there's another place I can put Smith, I click here. I'll say insert citation. You can see Smith is here. I'll click on it. So it keeps on compiling and accumulating all the citation you put. Okay. So that's how to do that. I just want to show you people. No, now if you want to generate the citation at the end, what you call bibliography, I'll go to the end of this one. This reference is make I comot am. This is what I mean. So I'm going to like put it in the next page. So I'm going to delete everything here. I'm showing you how to generate. These things are all manually written, so I don't need them. So after deleting them, I'll bring my just like the table of contents. So what you're going to do here is you go back to references here, references tab. You notice most of the thing we have done today is referring back to this particular tab. Okay. Now we are not going to click on insert citation. You are going to go to this bibliography. You will see different um pattern, right? You can see. So you can see when you click on insert the bibliography, look at it has done it alphabetically for me. So this is what you do. If I had like hundreds of them, it will simply just bring all of them and align them up here. You don't need to bother about. You can see L current blah 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 2025 DAIPODS. You could have more than two authors, right? Uh-huh. You use comma to separate them. Let me just give an example. For instance, let me click here and add new source. You go to references, add citation. Okay, I'll say new source. Now, if we are two authors, for those that might be wondering, so I'm now writing this with just me. So I'll say Lawrence Akugwe, then I'll put comma. Okay, then put John Smith. That's all. John Smith. Don't worry about the spelling. The title, I can put anything as the title. The journal name, let me just, yeah, say 2030, something like 2021. Then pages, I'll just say page 5. When I say okay, right? Now you see, um, something is wrong. I'm supposed to have the two names here. So in case you want to change anything, that this gives us opportunity. In your citation that I've already put there, okay, we are going to go to manage sources. Okay, under this, you are not going to go to insert citation. I'm just going to say manage sources. Okay, so the source you want to manage, okay, is here's the last one. Okay, this one. Okay, that's source I want to manage. When you click on it, okay, um, you click on it and say edit. When you say edit, it brings out back the original listing. So this is where you edit it. I'm wondering, are you supposed to put and? Okay, it's like a semicolon. Hold on, let me try semicolon. semicolon, say okay. Yes. Yes, yes. So the semicolon, you can see it has corrected it. Now, if you take the surname of the first person, that's like, we're sorry about the small letter and the misspelling. So you can see it is Akugwe and Smith, 2020. So what do you do? Again, let me go back. Go to manage sources. Okay, you check the source that you want to manage. This is the one you want to manage. You say edit. So you can see what I did was to separate. I can't zoom in this thing. I separated the first author. Okay. So what you do is when it's one and two authors, use the surname. Okay, let me write it very well. Akugwe, Lawrence, then semicolon Smith, John, then another semicolon. If there's another author, you can say Akpan is the surname, for instance. Okay, Akpan, then John. So we are now three authors here. I've edited it. Okay, then I'll say okay. So you say okay, you have to update it. Then I'll close this. So for me, I have to repeat this thing. I don't think it's automatic. Let me see. Remove selection. So it's not automatic. So let me put it again. I'm going to remove this, right? Now, for me to insert citation there, I'm going to click on insert. Then I'm going to go to this one. Now you can see Akugwe, Smith, and Apan, and this person, 2021. Yeah. So if I go to this, right, this thing needs to be updated. Okay. This over. So I'm going to insert another one. Going to bibliography and then insert bibliography. You can see there are now three. Okay, so you have Lawrence L, Smith J, and App and J in bracket 2021. This is the book we wrote, is in page 5. Anyway, Sha, this is what I want to show you here. Then the last thing, I remember I talked about showing you guys how to do mail merging. Okay, let me give you an example of a case study of mail merging. Sometimes I think it was in 20, I can't remember the year exactly. I was in library. I noticed a lady using their machine. She was very, very tired. They were trying to do a graduation ceremony in a university, and they wanted to invite the dean of every faculty. So she was printing both the letter and the envelope, putting the letter and the envelope. She didn't actually need to do that. All she needed was the database. For instance, if I want to send the WAEC results, or probably some people, in fact, I've done it last month. Okay, let me tell you an example of my own case study. I did a call, like an advert for some people to apply for a particular job. A lot of people apply for that job, and then at the end of the day, they took a test, and the test scores were supposed to probably be sent to all of them. Now, how many people did you got? 300 and something, so 290 something. There is no way on earth I can send email one after the other. Just like I'm just explaining, inviting the head of the what's it called, the dean of faculties. So all I needed was an Excel sheet that contained the name of everybody. Yes, name of everybody, their email addresses, and all that, so that I'll write one letter and customize the letter, right? So let me give you an example of the one I am handling now. Okay, so this is another list that this is real life. So sometimes this thing, you can see how very difficult it will be. Look at these are their phone numbers, their first name, their last name, their this and that and that and that, right? So let me just put certain things here. And what I'm going to explain to you now, how do I link the Microsoft document to this so that it will pull everything that is here, right? So what I'm going to do is, let me just say insert, sorry, delete. So I'm going to do it in another so that you don't is people's information. I'm going to do it and just show you, right? So one, two, three. So when you do that, okay, I'm just going to put some label to that information. Okay. What you can do is to link it to your this thing so that you can actually send them. And this is the last thing I'm going to teach. Okay. Sorry, let me just all right. So what I'm going to do now, let me show you something. I want to write a letter, okay, to these people. Okay, there are many of them. There are many of them. So I don't, you can see there are many. There are 600 and something. I'm going to write a simple letter, one letter that will be sent to these 600 and something people. Okay, so this is one thing Microsoft Word can do. So let's see how we can do that. It is done with the function that we call mail merger. So I'm going to create a new Microsoft Word document. Okay, so now I'm going to do this thing quick. Now there's what they call, how do we link it? There's what they call mailing. So there is this tab. If you look at it here, it's in everybody's own. You click on it, it's called mailings, right? So if you click on mailings, you will see different, of course, you see the ribbon, now you see different groups. The group start mail merging is the group that I want you to look at now. And you need to add recipients. So you are going to look at this, you see select recipients, right? Now selecting recipients, what I am going to do, okay, is to link this particular how do I link it? So my Excel has been stored somewhere, right? If you say select recipient, you see there are two types. Number one is you want to add it manually. Let me click on it first. I'm going to come back. Sorry. Type a list. Office couldn't open your file because it's a physical password. This is interesting. Let me go to number two. Number two is use an existing list. Existing means that either it's in a database, in an Excel, you download a CSV and everything. You don't need to type it. The first one, you are going to type it in yourself. Second one is existing. Third one is you can choose from your Outlook, but of course, I don't want to go there. So if I click on this now, it's going to be asking me which source. Is it a database? No. The one we are using now that I just showed you is an Excel. So I'm going to locate that Excel. It's in my downloads. It's technical manpower. I want to look at it here. So when I select that Excel, okay, well, I'm linking this particular Microsoft. Again, let me close. How did we come here? Let me start afresh. You go to what? Mailings. Then you click on what? Select recipients, then use an existing list. So the Excel that I want to link this thing is already existing. So I click on it. Now I'm going to locate that particular file. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to downloads. I'm going to technical manpower one, and that's if I'm going to open it. So if there are a lot of tabs in that particular Microsoft, is linking it now. Just hold on. It's going to ask me, okay, is this sheet one or So I'm choosing sheet one because the information I'm looking for is in sheet one. So you can see, you can even go down to sheets because you can have a lot of sheets, right? So the one I'm looking for, the one I just showed you people is in sheet one. I'll say, okay, now it has linked it. Just hold on, hold on. Yes, it has been linked. Okay, now I'm going to start typing, right? I'm going to say, dear, okay, dear. Now, I have 600 people on this list and I want to tag all of them. So what I'm going to do is I say, dear, I'll go back to this mailings. You will see inserts. Look at it now. You can see under the group, right, and insert field, you can see inserts. If I click on this now, you see it is giving me all the headings in that. Let me show you here. Let me bring the Excel back. You see the first, let me just color it yellow so that. So this is the heading. This is what I mean. So you see serial number, first name, last name, sex, and all that. Phone number one, email, date of birth, education, position that you're applying for, and all that. You can see. So having linked this, you can see if I say there and I click on insert, you can see automatically because this is linked to that particular Excel, all those settings you see. So I'll say their first name, okay, and then I'll give a space and insert the person's what last name. So this will be, effective for the 600 and something people on that sheet. That's the idea. So I'm going to say there this, I'll say enter, okay. I will say thank you for, let me just type anything. Thank you for applying for the job. Okay, your application has been acknowledged. Sorry, has been acknowledged. Okay, please, this is application, sorry. So I can say, please confirm the, let me just say confirm that the information below are accurate. Accurate. Okay. So information below accurate. I'll now say phone. Okay. Phone number. Now, dot dot. Okay. Now I will insert, listen, first of all, confirm phone number. You see, I'll insert phone number. Next thing I'm going to confirm, I'll say date of DOB, date of birth. Okay. I'll go to the insert field. I'll say DOB is heading there. What else? Email. Email. I'll go here. I'll insert email. Then I'll say position applied for. Position. Let me just say position. Then I'll go to this thing. I'll insert position. I'll say course of study. Course. Let me just say course. Then I'll go here. I'll insert course. Now, you see all this thing. I'll just say thank you. Let me just say thank you. I think that's the end. Lawrence. Like, now, you see this thing we have done is just one letter, Abi, but it's going to be applied across board to everybody. Okay. So now, if you want to see when you have done this, right? If you want to see the preview, okay, you look at this place. When you are in mailings, again, remember you have to be in mailings tab. You go to, there is a group here you can see called preview results, right? If I click on it, see what is happening. You can see dear Annabelle. I can even color them maybe red so that it will be noticeable. Okay, when I color them, I'll just say format painter, format painter, format painter, format painter, format painter, format painter. Okay, see, those things in red now is unique to individual, but the one in black is the one that is generic. So instead of suffering myself to type this letter as 600 times, I have typed it once. Now, if I go to mailings again, in this preview, you can see it's showing me result number 1. Okay, I can use this front arrow to go to result number 2. Result number 2 is Anom Ezuche. You understand? The phone number is different, the date of birth is different, the email is different, the position this person is applying for is piping engineer, and the course the person rate is chemical. The next person is Deborah. Her phone number is there, the date of birth is there, her email is there, the position she's applying for is quality assurance quality control officer, and the course she rate is electrical electronics. So you can go on and on and on and on until 600 this thing. Okay. Now, you know that I can now print these letters into different pages, and each page will carry the unique identity of the person that owns the letter without any mistake. All I needed to do is to link this particular sheet to what? To the Excel. And even if I want to send them an email, I can attach each of them to each of their email addresses without making any mistake. So now let me show you what so when you do this thing, this is a preview. If you want to end the preview, you just click on this, right? It goes back to the original. You understand? The original is the main this thing. It does not show the actual names and everything. So now when you finish, like look at still in mailings, you have what? Finish and merge, right? If you click on finish and merge, that there are 3 options. Okay, edit individual documents. Will you open a new document with each of them? So I'm going to open a new document now with 600 pages. I don't want to do that. That's the first option. You understand? Meaning I can even save it as a PDF and go and print it somewhere. Each of them, you know, I don't want to, you might kind of another one is print. You can print it right away. Okay, so print is that you have each of the pages. You can print the page 1, page 2, print, or you print all the pages. Okay, which is similar to what I had before. Or the last option, you send it as an email. So let me choose that one. Of course, when you want to send it as an email, you say send to what? Email. Now, do you know why email is here? There is equally a column in that Excel sheet that contains all their email addresses. So that's why if I come to that column, I will select email. So what it automatically means that each person in that database will have his results, or probably this thing I'm typing now, sent to them, as an attachment. So when you click on email, now it's asking you put a subject. You can see acknowledgement, application acknowledgement, or can just use application. This is an example. I'm not going to do it, by the way. Application, right? Then email formats. Okay, there are other formats. Is it as an attachment? Okay, or do you want this right up now to be on the body of the email? So you can choose anyone, or you want it to be a plain text. So if I choose attachment, it will attach this particular file to the person's email. Okay, you can equally choose what HTML. It will be embedded on the body of email. So I'll say attach. How many records? Okay, I can say all the records, meaning that from number 1 to number 600, I want you to do this thing for them. Or you can say from number 1, look at it again. This is custom. From number 1 to like number 10. You can be doing it 10 or something like that. I don't know. But if I'm the one, there can be 1 million people. I will do everything. Okay. Then I'll say okay, and the thing will send. Right. I'm not going to do that because let me announce also, for you to do this, you must have set up your Outlook because this is a Microsoft product. So you have to set up your Outlook, so that for instance, I have many email addresses. I have Codehouse, I have my Gmail, I have Codehouse, I have my Outlook email. So you have to configure the particular one, because if I send it out now, people might start getting email. That's why I don't want to, because these are real people's email addresses. I don't want to send this thing out. But you can see, I've actually done this thing for them before. You can see how, if they write a test, I can show them their test scores here and say, people, how did you send it to everybody? This is how to do it. You can have a group, an organization, people are owing dues. You can do the calculation of all the dues, that because people cannot be owing the same amount of dues. I've done this already before now, around 2019. Yeah, I belong to the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So we compiled all their dues, and everybody we had like more than 200 and something members of that time. Each of them got exactly what they were owing. Nobody got another person's own. So these are the use cases, all right? So I'm going to end here. Today, before today run out, I'm going to introduce, because the next thing I'm going to be doing is PowerPoint. But I don't just jump into introducing PowerPoint. I try as much as possible, because you can see this is not just about the DAIPOD, that we do. Most of the time, it's not something that you can go elsewhere and get. So normally, before I teach that this thing, I'm going to introduce you people to what we call design element, because I'm using the idea of PowerPoint to even give people sense of what we call design, because what I can teach you in PowerPoint, you can as well use it in Canva, CapCut, you can use it, sorry, not CapCut now, Photoshop, Adobe AI, Adobe Illustrator, Corel Draw and everything. So I don't just jump into, just like this particular one I thought now, it's not about typing. People just go develop this thing, do paragraph and everything. This is the real deal, okay? If you know how to do mail merging, and imagine using macro, imagine doing automatic table of contents, you are miles ahead of those that just learned it in the roadside. So now, before we go into Microsoft, I'm not going to go into PowerPoint. What I'm going to do today is to use this opportunity to introduce you to design element. Then when we come to the next class, we just do PowerPoint, and that will end A for DAIPODS. We are going to go into I, which is information management, and that's what I'm going to do data analysis, we are going to touch some part of Excel and all that. Okay, so now, design elements. Okay, so what is it? Okay, every design you have ever seen, whether it's a PowerPoint, whether it's a flyer, whether it's a brochure, company profile, and all those kind of things, we use a combination of these design elements. Okay, it gives a combination of design elements. So what you have today is, first of all, we are going to look at text. Some people don't know that the type of text that you use matters. Other design elements are lines, and when you combine lines, you get shapes. Okay, now when you can equally have what we call pattern. Pattern is a design element, but you can see pattern is simply pattern in itself is not a core design element, but pattern is when lines and shapes are repeated. So you call it a pattern. That's why you are seeing those arrows there. Then you have values. So something can have different value, whether it's a line or a shape. Okay, it can have different values. There can be different values of black, they call it shades of green and everything. So knowing that something that as simple as color can have different value is already a design element. Of course, I don't need to overemphasize color. Okay, color is a design element. The use of color will determine whether you are doing a good design or not. Then you have other things like forms, you have space also, you have texture. Now, when you have design element, the way you apply them is what we call design principles. Okay, because some people kind of mistake these things. Okay, you have something like lines pattern. How do you use line? How do you use space? You have to have a principle. For instance, you know that it's not all color that somebody is wearing purple and red. If somebody is passing you on the street, a person is wearing purple shirt, red trouser and a white shoe, you will see that this thing don't match. You understand? Because at that point, the color is an element, but the application of the color is the principle. The person does not follow principle. So colors, even tell us when they get your Ankara and they are going to combine with a particular material, probably a plain material, they know the color of the plain material they are going to use for it to match. So design element and design principle are not really they are similar, but you cannot use one without incorporating the other. So that I want to make it very clear. There are elements, but the principle is equally very important, because the principle is looking at how did this guy utilize this design element. Let us take a look at space, the first one. Space in itself is a design element. So I gave examples here, right? You will see that there are 4 diagrams here. Let me use the first one, the top left. Now you can see they are the same thing. Elements are there, right? But the use of the element, the use of the space is not the same. You can see that the second one on the right, is kind of chaotic, but the first one on the left, you can see it's kind of more mature. The spaces now are referring to the space, okay? The way the space is used is kind of more settled, it's kind of more stable. The other one is looking like it's a chaotic, okay? So there's what they call harmony, right? So let me talk about positive and negative. You look at the top right, okay, you see something that looks like a capsule, and one is positive and one is negative. So sometimes you need to equally understand that sometimes there's a way you apply space, it will take the negative form. There's a way it applies space, take the positive form. If you look at these two, the second one looks like a hollow, like a material that is cut, while the first one is looking like something that is in the space. Okay, while the second one is looking like the space itself. Now let us go to the bottom. You can see also that they are made up of rectangles and all that, but you can see there is no harmony and there is no balance. Okay, so you could see the one on the left hand side, there is harmony and there is balance, but the one on the right hand side is somehow the blocks are just placed anyhow. So you look at the last picture that has the yellow shapes inside, so you can see, look at two of them, you see that there's one that is balanced and the one that is not balanced. Not every time that you seek for balance, so that's not what we are saying. Sometimes you might have to use space in such a way that if I have two figures, exactly the same figure, and I reduce the size of one, it shows that that person might be at the back, and the person that is zoomed out, the same picture, it might be closer. So there's what they call perspective as well. It is the use of space that gives those kind of perspective. So what I am trying to say in this slide is not actually just how to use space, but I'm trying to emphasize that space in itself is an element of design. Next, text. Some people don't know that the text you use for your flyer or for your website matters, because I know these are the kind of things that if there are designers in the house, they might appreciate this very, very well. Okay. In text, you consider a lot of things, just like we did harmony and negative. But what do we consider? What is the style? What we call typeface? Okay. There are different styles. You can see them here on the right hand side. What is the size? What is the orientation? Are they vertical? Are they horizontal? Are they diagonal? Okay. Is it justified? Is it at the center? Okay. Or is it at the left, or is it at the right? The format, is it bold? Is it underlined? Is it italics? The case, is it upper? When you combine all these things, the way you use everything that is listed here is the design principle, right? So you have, look at the text. Movement shows that you can see there are 3 dash lines before the movement. You can see another one, that is natural, kind of using floral pattern. And you see the one that is diagonal, moving from top left down, as if to see it's moving down to like bottom right, something like that. You see another one, simplicity. You see another one, emphasis. You know, it's placing emphasis on certain words. Then you see something like balance, you understand? Okay, probably something in the middle, maybe it is I can give an example here. Digital, for instance, if you want to use digital, let's leave that example. This balance is okay. So balance, you have like, it gives you a sense of balance. Maybe it's a logo, maybe it's a king. Okay, then you can have a crown and then put the eye inside this thing, a circle, and wear it so that kind of thing can provide some equally balance. Okay, contrast, you can see, then unity, meaning that everything is joined together. So what these are, I am not here to like teach you, but I'm just here to mention that text is a design element. Now look at this, right? What we have done so far, I want us to look at it, the text and the space, right? You can see that there are a lot of space here, but in this one, we have used all the space very, very well. Okay? But if you ask me, this person has used the space very, very well. The text is bold, you know. You can see the phone is very visible, very bold. But if I may ask, would you choose this particular one? Okay? Or would you choose this particular one? So if you choose the first one, just type A in the chat. Let me see. If you choose the second one, type B in the chat. This is the first one. This is the second one. Sorry, this one is the second one. Oh. This one is the first one. Okay, Allen say A. Somebody say B. Uche. Okay, Lawrence will choose A. Oh, let me continue, Sha. I will choose this one because even though the education is key, it's even smaller. Hey, Uche, well done. James say A. Sorry. Yeah, because even though the text is not as bold as the first one, and look at the phone number, it's not as good as the first one. Even the image is not as big as the first one. But for goodness sake, man, the use of space here is whack. It gives you sense of chaos. You understand? Yeah, they might be bigger, but see, it's not always that boldness and this matter. But you can see now that you are learning also that even the space is part of the design. Guys, the only difference between this first one and second one is the use of space. So if you don't know that space is part of a design, you begin to know it today. How the thing is placed is giving it room of fresh air. You know, the phone number is there. I like this one very well than this one. So let's continue. Line also is an element of design. The use of line is, of course, is a principle, but the line itself, you can see, even though these are straight lines, the one on top, they are straight line, they connote different things. Okay, this first one is showing something like as if it is a cracked, because all the nodes are joined. But this other line is showing me like rods that are just packed. Okay, they are crossing each other. You can't see anything that looks like node in the second one. Okay, the third one is giving me some perspective that is connoting like 3D. Is not a flat surface, because there is a way one part of the line cuts the other one and stops you from continuing, meaning that they are not crossing paths. So somehow it shows you that one is on top of the other. Then the one at the bottom here is straight line also, but what you are seeing here is like a flow. It gives you some perspective. Those that are towards the left hand side are smaller, and the space is in between gets bigger towards the other. And so this other one is showing something that looks like a flow. Okay, so you can see the way you arrange your line. Okay, even though it's a simple line, of course, we have what we call geometric, and what we call what organic. We are going to come to it very soon. Okay, so let me go on. So line is an element of design. Shape also is an element of design. So you can see the shape will have different things like the major elements in shape is simply the fill, what is inside, like the color inside and the outline, because the shape will have boundaries. So what is the color of the boundary? So these are the major things that we're looking at here. But I haven't talked about organic. It's already 4 o'clock, so I'm going to rush here and end. So we have organic shape and inorganic shape. Inorganic shape is called geometric. So you can see geometric has what? Pattern that can be calculated using mathematical principle. But look at the bottom right. Those are organic shapes. So organic shape denotes something that is natural, that is not really calculated using mathematical formulas and everything. So in our Ankara, how you know that this is an African kind of thing is we use more of organic in our designs. The Western world, you see some of their things more like geometric. Okay, so these are kind of things that we know. Of course, the next element of I'm rushing now, we have color. Okay, the color, you need to look at the scheme of the color scheme. Means color scheme means what color matches each other. You can see what you have on the left hand side and right hand side is different color scheme. You see that those colors are combined. They call it, sometimes they call it color palettes. They can match each other, but if you make mistake of using one color palette and combine with another color in another color palette, the thing will look very harsh in the eye. It will not be very, you can see, I give example top here, you can see 3 different screen of the same thing. You see hello, you can see somehow different shades of blue works with different shades of what? Orange. Okay, light blue, lighter blue, and everything. Very fine, fantastic. So we're going to be talking about things like gradient. Gradient is when there is no sharp contrast between one color and another color. It kind of smoothly moves into another one. So that's gradient. Contrast is you have a dark background, you need to have a light text, for instance, or you have a dark, sorry, you have a light background and you have a thicker text. So that's what they call contrast. You have sharpness, you have brightness, saturation, tune, and all that. Pattern, I've said it before, pattern is another element of design. Okay, the difference between these two patterns, I see that one is more of organic and the other one is geometric. The one on the left is geometric, while the one on the right is organic. Like I said, pattern is simple, repetition of either shapes or repetition of lines. Okay, that's what forms a pattern. So you are likely to see the Western world using things that are on the left-hand side, but our Ankara in Africa, you are going to likely see more of organic, both line and shape. So when they are repeated, it is referred to as what? Pattern. Texture. Texture gives you an impression of material. So texture and pattern, a lot of people misunderstand this thing. Texture gives you a principle of material. Like you could see, some of them are looking like if you see brown, it's giving you something like a wood, When you see ash, it's giving you like marble vibes, So sometimes you see something like beyond this, you can have something like metallic. When you see something like whitish with ash and everything, it gives you a sense of metallic. But when you see brownish and yellow kind of combined in a certain way, it gives you an idea of gold. You understand? So these are the kind of things we need. I'm not going to, dwell too much on this. So this way I'm going to end today. So design elements, you now see something like how to use all the shape like line, all the elements like line, shape, space, form, color, value, and then to depict certain things like balance, movement, pattern, contrast, reading, emphasis, and so all these things gathered together is what we refer to as what? Design principles. So we are going to talk about how to use some of these things in the next in our PowerPoint. I'm not just going to jump into PowerPoint presentation. I like using some of these things to kind of do this illustration. So thank you very much for joining this class. I am sure we are going to continue with PowerPoint the next time. So